Call in, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. I have such an exciting show planned tonight. Honestly, the first topic is my fave. It's the Pat McAfee topic. And first, I just want to welcome everybody into the stream. I see we have about 4 people here. We are about to cook LeBron James and Clutch Sports again, as well as Pat McAfee. I just think these people are really interesting, evil. There's something going on that is just quite devious here, and we need to uncover it. I'm going to unpack what I believe is just some sort of nefarious plot by LeBron James and Clutch Sports, as well as Adam Silver. So I think that they're all colluding together, and it's no coincidence that they have all been on the Pat McAfee show in recent weeks. So I find it to just be so interesting. And like I said, I want to welcome you guys into the stream. Salute to everybody who's joining tonight. I know it's late night. On the West Coast, it's almost 11:30. So salute to everybody joining. Salute to everybody watching the NBA and the playoffs in this first round. Yes, so welcome on in. And as you join the stream, do me a favor and like the video, share it out to social media. Let's get everybody involved. Let's get more people to be a part of this community. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And let's get the word out about Sports Tea. So like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And click the little notification bell so that you can get notifications for Sports Tea and know when we're going to be live. So I really look forward to this stream and connecting with all of you. Salute to everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll jump right into the first topic, and that's going to be Pat McAfee. He actually doesn't like LeBron James at all. So he interviews him. He somehow gets him to come on his show. And it was all so perplexing to me. We were all wondering, why didn't LeBron James go to Shannon Sharp? Why didn't he go to Draymond Green? Why didn't he go to Carmelo Anthony? Why didn't he go to Dwayne Wade? Why didn't he go to even Tyrese Halliburton? So many other guys that have podcasts. He could have went to Paul George. Just so many. He could have went to Pat Beverly, his old teammate. I mean, he has so many players in the league that are forging the new media that he believes in. He believes in players having a voice. So why wouldn't he go to one of them? Why would he go to Pat McAfee, this white guy who is, I don't know, he just teeters on the lines of racist to me. I mean, Pat McAfee, he tweeted that he couldn't believe that LeBron James sat down with a white guy. That's what he said. And I'll show you guys this tweet. Good morning, beautiful people. I still can't believe LeBron had a conversation with a white guy the other day. I just think that it's really cringe for him to say this. I think it's disgusting because it implies that LeBron, has some sort of problem with white people and he can't talk to them, or he's only going to deal with black people. It's just, it gives a connotation that somehow, LeBron is more qualified as an NBA player because he sat down with a white guy. And it comes off as racial, divisive. I don't see how anyone could take this comment. I think it's offensive, and I think it's stupid, and it's ignorant. And I don't think that in 2025, there should be an assumption that black people and white people cannot be in the same room or have a conversation. That is just god-awful and disgusting and completely divides the sports world and everyone in it. So that's what I have to say about that tweet. But now we have audio that has been brought to light about Pat McAfee, not really liking LeBron James at all. Back in 2019, I believe, he said that he couldn't stand him, that he was completely done with LeBron James. And I'm going to play this audio for you guys, and then we're going to unpack it, and we're going to talk about what I believe is the real psychology behind this. We'll play it now, and then we'll react.
Of JJ, let's hear from him. He's speaking with Mike Trudell in the media.
JJ, you went into the second quarter up 7. What did you see flip in the game at that point? they were able to get the start of their run was transition and a second chance. And if you look sort
Oh, sorry, guys. That's the wrong soundbite. Whoops. I want to play this one, actually.
That guy stinks. By the way. I am done with him.
Who, LeBron?
I'm done with him.
Well, you didn't like his antics last night?
I did everything. Then the China stuff, which just makes him look like an absolute buffoon. He starts yelling during the national anthem, and then they lose. It's just like Bron. This was not a game that you could do after everything you've done the last couple months that have made it very difficult to like you.
So, guys, I actually got this sound from Uncommon Sense, and salute to Uncommon Sense. I actually love his content, and even I stole that little thumbnail from him that's in the top left corner of the screen there. I'm done with LeBron James. This is what Pat McAfee is saying, and we have no idea. I can't remember which game he's reacting to, but he interrupts the national anthem. He's, like he's blasting him for the situation in China. I just think that none of these things that Pat McAfee said had anything to do with basketball. And that's been LeBron James's big beef with Stephen A. Smith, with the media in general, with traditional media. He's saying that the media just they no longer are being professional. They're speaking about him, about his family, about personal things that are totally inappropriate. That's the narrative that LeBron James is running with. That's why he has this beef with Stephen A, because he's saying that his takes are not about basketball. That's what Draymond Green is alleging as well, that these are not basketball takes. But what was Pat McAfee saying right now that had anything to do with basketball? He talked about China. That doesn't sound like basketball. He talked about the national anthem. That doesn't sound like basketball. He called him a buffoon. A buffoon. That's like borderline racist. I just think it's interesting. Like, why wouldn't Pat McAfee be someone that LeBron James, Clutch Sports, Adam Silver, that they would denounce? Why are they going to him after comments like that? I'm done with LeBron James. He was so emotional. He was so personal. He made it personal. He attacked him. He even showed that he has very little to zero respect for LeBron. He couldn't even say his name. He called him Bron. That's completely emasculating him and his name, his family name, his given name. He's emasculating LeBron James by calling him Bron and saying, hey, I have no respect for you. I'm not even going to say your name. I'm going to call you Bron, which is like a swishy nickname that could be, like super emasculating. So it's just really interesting to me how Pat McAfee not only disrespected LeBron James, had these very personal opinions about him and his life and how he's carrying himself and what he's doing that had nothing to do with basketball. So isn't it funny that he's able to get him on his show? Isn't it funny that he's able to get Rich Paul on his show after these kinds of comments? And so LeBron is very unforgiving to the black media like Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, anybody who says a word about him. But not the white media, Pat McAfee, who's pretty popular in the YouTube streets. He's super, I think he's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He's been given a really big deal through ESPN. And I think that they view him as a future of ESPN. I really do. And I think that he is, he's a rising star there, if not a superstar at ESPN. And he's getting all these rock star interviews, LeBron James, Adam Silver, Rich Paul. He has been able to kind of have this chokehold on, the media as it pertains to the NBA. And he's even gotten Aaron Rodgers from NFL. He's had, sort of like this guest spot on his show multiple times. So it's all just really interesting that, okay, Pat McAfee is a powerful person, I guess, at ESPN and in the media, white guy, right? I guess taps into a different audience, the American that likes sports. And LeBron James chooses to address Stephen A. Smith through Pat McAfee after Pat McAfee has completely slammed him, said some pretty, very... He lit him up just now. I'm done with LeBron James. He's a buffoon. He let somebody call him a buffoon and was sitting there smiling, laughing, joking. He's fine with that. there has to be a reason for that. And I think that when you become a clown and you're in a circus, you're performing. You're performing for a group of people. I think that there's the psychology behind it is that really LeBron James was never really welcome into these circles. For whatever reason, he's always been the guy that he's allowed in because of who he is. He's either pretty unliked or, he hasn't been the guy that I guess white middle America really enjoys, maybe because of his political beliefs, maybe because of some of the things that he's come out and said. He has been a very unlikable superstar in the NBA. And he's been really polarizing, very divisive. And so this is all really interesting. And I think that LeBron James looks desperate. He looks desperate to fit in with this crowd, with Pat McAfee, and I guess the fans that like him. He wants to be seen as, I don't know. It seems almost as he wants to be considered an acceptable black guy to Pat McAfee and this, sort of genre of fans. And he's literally performing for them when he does an interview on the Pat McAfee show. He's saying, yeah, Stephen A was in his tighty whities doing a Taylor Swift tour. I mean, he just sounded like a bro. He didn't sound like a brother. He sounded like a bro. And it was embarrassing. I had secondhand embarrassment from watching that interview, watching him try to fit in with Pat McAfee and completely change just like his personality and the way that he speaks. I thought that it was god awful. I thought it lacked, authenticity. LeBron James is not genuine. He seems like a go along to get along kind of guy. And he seems like he just wants so badly to fit in. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but The Sopranos is probably one of my favorite shows in like the world. I love The Sopranos. Every single year I watch The Sopranos from top to bottom. I watch every single episode, every single season. I probably have all the episodes memorized. And I want to play a couple of clips for you guys because what's happening, what we see with LeBron James and Rich Paul, they completely embarrass themselves on the Pat McAfee show. They think they're talking to their friends. They think they're talking to somebody who, they're on the show and they're the star of the show and they're entertaining them, yes, but they think that they're there hanging out, that they have this relationship with these people, and the whole time they're being made fun of. And there's an episode in the first season of The Sopranos where Tony, he's got this neighbor and he's Cusimano, he's a doctor, and the Cusimanos, they are very uppity. Yes, they're Italian as well, but obviously Tony and his family, they're in the mafia. And Cusimano winds up inviting Tony to his country club to meet some of his friends and to potentially join the club. That's sort of the premise behind them getting together and going to this country club. And essentially, Tony gets really uncomfortable, and you'll see it. You'll see why. But I'm going to play this for you, and we're going to break this down, and I'm going to share with you how this situation is pretty much the same thing and is very similar to what LeBron, Rich Paul, the way that they're embarrassing themselves on the Pat McAfee show. So I'm going to play this for you guys, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do.
It's a lily.
Now that's a shot.
Ball runs like a frightened swan.
WC Field.
That thing's still running.
I gotta tell you, this is a nice place.
Didn't I tell you?
You know, we ought to see about making you a member.
Tony, you ever play that place in Orlando?
No, I never get down there. Oh, Disney World.
You know, Al's place. Mount Plymouth. Al Capone built it.
Oh, shit.
Capone was a golf fanatic. That's right.
So you guys watch A&E.
Tony, let me ask you a question. And now if I'm stepping on toes, tell me. How real was The Godfather? I mean, in your opinion.
What do you mean real?
Authentic or not?
I don't know. How would I know? It's the 50s, right?
No, it wasn't. It was 1972.
Now, what he means is the story took place in the 50s.
I want to know if you really had to cut your finger and take an oath.
Like good luck on Times Square on this golf course today, isn't it?
You notice traffic in Manhattan's gotten worse since Don't Block the Box?
You got a lot of friends in New York, Tony?
Yeah.
You ever go down to Little Italy?
You know San Gennaro, the feast with the kids.
Tell the truth. What's the first thing you think of when you hear Mulberry Street?
Umberto's.
Hey, all right. Hey, did you ever see that picture of Galante dead with a cigar hanging out of his mouth?
No.
It's a fucking beautiful hit, huh? Sorry, Tony. You probably knew the guy, huh?
How fucking old you think I am?
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I got to know. Did you ever meet John Gotti?
Yeah, I knew John.
Whoa, fuck.
What was he really like?
Remember Bungalow Bar?
The ice cream trucks?
Like good humor. Except the trucks, they had the bungalow roofs on, hmm?
Was Gotti a silent partner in all that thing?
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. Just know that when the company folded and they were auctioning off the last Bungalow Bar truck, one with the peaked roofs. You're right, Coos.
Goose.
Well, they were auctioning off the last Bungalow Bar truck. And I wanted it as a souvenir. Gotti outbid me. Gave me a ride home. You know, he rang that bell the whole way home.
I absolutely love Tony, and RIP to James Gandolfini. He's one of my favorite actors that have ever lived. He's so versatile, and he's got this amazing range about him. And yeah, I watch Sopranos every year. I absolutely adore James Gandolfini and the whole cast, actually. Just an incredible show, probably the best written series that I've ever watched. But as you can see in this clip, and I know you're probably thinking, why did I play this for you guys? But Tony, as you can see, these guys, they're getting so excited and they're asking him questions about the association. You know, they're asking him questions about the mafia, and you're not supposed to talk about it. And he's getting angry. You see his face and he's looking at his neighbor like, how dare you bring me into this situation? And you just want to, like, you know, be around me for the tea. This isn't about me joining the country club. This is about you just wanting clout with your friends, and I'm a spectacle. So, you know, the Cusimanos, they made a spectacle of Tony and what he does, and they had no real respect for him. They were treating him like a spectacle, like a monkey in a circus, there to perform. And there was a point where he decided to just drop the anger because he had this attitude. He's walking, and they're walking and on the golf course, and he's like getting annoyed that they're asking him these questions. And then he just kind of lets his guard down, and he tells a stupid, untrue story to get them like all, you know, interested and excited. And he's just playing around, and he even insults Cusimano back and calls him Cus. And we all know that, you know, in Italian, that kind of stands for like a woman's, you know, private part. And so that's why they kind of laughed, and they're really laughing at Tony. The slang that he uses, they don't respect. These people are doctors, lawyers, professionals. They don't respect people in the mafia. Those kind of Italian people, they reject La Cosa Nostra. They hate to be associated with it. And even though it's such a huge part of Italian American culture, they cannot stand it. They want to disassociate from it, but they wanted a laugh. So they brought Tony around, and they wanted to laugh, not just with him, but at him. And that's what they did. And there's another short clip that I'm going to play for you guys where Tony's explaining how this made him feel. And I only wish that LeBron James had that level of awareness in this situation, and maybe he does, and I'm going to get to that. But I thought that it was really interesting. But he sits down and he explains to Dr. Melfi how this made him feel, and he even has his own example of this, and he recognized it right away. That's why we see him shift from getting angry to just telling these jokes and getting through it. But here's what he explains to his therapist.
Remember when I was a kid, there was this guy in my neighborhood. We used to call him Jimmy Smash. And he wasn't retarded. He was, because he had one of these, whatchamacallits. What do you call it?
Left palate.
Yeah. We was kids, right? So, you know, what the hell do we know? Every time he opened his mouth, we'd piss ourselves laughing. But Jimmy didn't mind because he got to hang out with us, you know, popular crew. Although we only called him when we were bored. Called him and say, hey, Jimmy, say Mike the Knife. And because he wanted to hang out with us, he'd belt it right out. We'd fucking roll on the floor laughing. And then, you know, when the laughs got old, we stopped calling him. It wasn't until years later that I found out that the poor prick was going home every night and crying himself to sleep. Now, when I found out, you know, I felt bad. But I never really understood what he felt to be used, you know, for somebody else's amusement, like a fucking dancing bear, till I played golf with those guys.
Oh, you thought Cusimano was your friend?
You live, you learn.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? Whatever happened to Jimmy?
Jimmy Smash? He's doing 20 for robbery. Wasn't too hard for the cop to figure out who it was. He goes up to the bank teller with a mask. He goes, "Give me your money."
So for those of you who don't know, and if you ever want to go back to this episode that I'm mentioning, it's called A Hit is a Hit in season 1, episode 10. But as you can see, Tony knew right away what was happening to him. He realized real quick that they were just using him for their own amusement, asking him questions about the mafia they had no business asking. One, because they had no respect for him, and two, they thought that what he does is a joke, and they thought that, this is Cusimano's neighbor. He's not possibly going to pop off in broad daylight. He's either going to take it or he's going to lean into it. And, he got through it. And a guy like Tony, he recognizes that he was being used for the amusement, and he remembers back in the day what he did with, a guy that had, I guess that condition, like a cleft lip palate or something like that, and also spoke a little bit, off kilter because of it. And, he uses the R word with the therapist. She's sitting there. She looks completely disgusted, and she doesn't feel bad for him that his neighbor was embarrassing him that way because of what he's done in the past. And, she's just sitting there like trying to hold back her personal judgment of Tony Soprano. But the whole scene is really, it gets even funnier, because not only does Tony recognize what's happening to him, and he sees that he's this pawn in, just a devious plot for a couple of laughs, and he decides to, sort of roll with it. He talks to the therapist about it, but he just can't let it go, because for him, he felt embarrassed. He felt like, he got one up on him or something like that. And he felt like, what? I can't lay down and just take that. I don't want him to think that I'm nothing to worry about. Yeah, he did this, and I'm going to do something funny back. And he does get his sort of like his lick back. He gets his revenge back on his neighbor, Cusimano. And I'm going to play this for you. This is the last clip. It's a little over a minute, but it's really interesting. He really sort of takes the power back. He transfers the energy, and then now he's got one up. And how he does this is really interesting, and I'm going to show it to you now.
I'm here.
Get a finger.
What's in the box?
Sand. I'm fucking with Cusimano.
Tony,
Beautiful.
you're kind of cute when you're being a bad boy.
You're awfully chipper today.
So what are you going to do with the box?
Give it to him. Tell him to hold on to it for a while.
Oh, Tony, that is so evil.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's so much fun.
Oh, God.
Coach, come here.
Hey, Tone. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. Listen, that nickname.
What, Coach? Cusimano?
It's got that other connotation that...
No, not anymore. Listen, pal, be a little solid. Need you to hang on to this for a while for me. Hang on to it, in a little while I'll come get it when I need it.
How long?
A month, maybe more, maybe less. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Oh, the club. I'd like to ask you about the club. What's going on?
Oh, the club. Sorry, Tone. Membership's closed.
Closed.
Yeah. No new members until old members die.
Nobody's dying?
Nothing anybody can do anything about.
No biggie, Coos.
You sure?
Thanks.
Because...
I'll live.
So I didn't play the whole thing for you, but it quickly skips to, you see Cusimano and his wife, Jeannie Cusimano. They're standing over this box and they're completely petrified. They're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What is it? Drugs? Is it heroin? They're just like petrified. And there's nothing in this box. And Tony's just trying to get his lick back. He's trying to, really make them feel like they're part of the mafia, since that's what he wanted so bad, right? He wanted that laugh, but there's really nothing funny about it now, is there? And that's what I think is really happening. When you take a look at all three of those scenes, when we go back to 2019 and Pat McAfee scorches the earth on LeBron James, he goes completely scorched earth. But why? Why would LeBron James go back to him? So clearly he's forced his hand. Clearly, he's the bully that now he's able to use his power and his influence to get what he wants. LeBron James has narratives that he wants to put out there. He wants to assert himself as the GOAT. He wants to tell everybody and make sure that the real 23, Michael Jordan, is erased. He wants to make sure that there's not even a thought of Kobe Bryant being second to Michael Jordan, that can't be possible. He wants to push his narratives, and the media machine wants to push fake narratives. So it's easy for LeBron James to create this victimhood for himself. Nobody's celebrating today's players. Nobody wants to celebrate today's game. I need to teach NBA fans how to appreciate today's game. This is what he's saying. We're all denigrating the players today. The old heads are coming out and they have nothing good to say or positive about this game. LeBron James is fake. Fake victim. He's a victim of nothing. In fact, he is the bully. What I believe is he's trying to push these narratives. And so he went to Pat McAfee because he's got the largest reach on YouTube. So he's like, you're going to push these narratives or I'm going to end you. I'm going to make it really difficult for you. You won't get access to anybody. Or they have a handshake deal. Hey, I'll get you access to the NBA, to Adam Silver. If you notice, Rich Paul went on the Pat McAfee show. LeBron James went on the Pat McAfee show. Adam Silver went on the Pat McAfee show. And this is not the first time that Rich Paul has been on the Pat McAfee show. So it started with Rich Paul. Rich Paul created this partnership with Pat McAfee. He said, hey, I don't care if you're racist. Hey, I don't care if you hate LeBron. You have the largest reach. We're going to create this partnership. I'm going to get you in with my partner in crime, Adam Silver, who pretty much created Clutch Sports alongside me. We're going to push these narratives. And we're going to put these nasty comments that you set aside. So LeBron James is basically selling out. And he takes this high moral stand with the black media, but Pat McAfee is allowed to criticize him about China, call him a buffoon. He's allowed to talk about him in any way that he wants. And he has, and he did, and he got away with it. And again, I'm not going to let LeBron James get away with it. We're going to keep exposing him for the liar that he is, for the fake that he is, for the phony that he is. Fake. That's what he is. LeBron James is a big phony. He's a big fake. He's manufactured the GOAT discussion, and he wants to use Pat McAfee as a vehicle. If he has a white face saying it, if he's got the guy behind him with the largest media reach right now on YouTube, then he can really have widespread, he can cast a wide net on lies. He'll have the Donald Trump, Elon Musk effect. Now, all he's got to do is partner with X. LeBron James is a disgrace. Clutch Sports is a disgrace. And the fact that they would go to Pat McAfee to do an interview with him is just, it's the kind of coonery that we can expect from LeBron James. That's why I call him LeCoon. But what do you guys think? I want to hear from you. Why does LeBron James take a high hand with the black media? Why did he let Pat McAfee just get away with these comments back in 2019 and he's willing to work with him now? In lieu of all of his black friends, in lieu of the whole black media, the black media that supported him, that's capped for him, that has asserted him and anointed him as the GOAT. Does he not work with them because he doesn't need to influence them any longer? I want to read some comments and then we'll open up the phone lines. What do you guys think? LaFoni. Phil Miner, his window is closing. It looks like we had some super chats that came through. Shout out to the Drew Show. I really appreciate you. Salute to you for the $5 super chat. I can't wait to call in on this subject. I've been holding back and watching from afar. I got a lot to say, girl. Will you call in? I can't wait to hear from you, the Drew Show. Sports facts, $1.99. Dom, maybe LeBron is just a proud buffoon. I love it. Okay, let's throw up this phone line, guys. The phone lines are open. Call on in. Really, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Why does LeBron James take a high hand with the media? I'll continue to read out some comments while we're waiting for the phone lines to start ringing. I think it's a mixed bag. LaForty wants to push his narrative far away he can. The NBA organization itself is so blind and dumb for letting this continuing to go on. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Oh, I want it.
Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Hey, if you can do me a favor, just mute your background so that
I'm
we
not
can.
on.
Yeah, you're on. This is Dominique. Talk to me nice. Thanks for calling Sports Tea.
How you doing? Good evening, friend.
Hey,
And
how's
I
it
said I
going?
will call it next time during the playoffs. But yeah, I want to talk about this because, and I guess I'll get things really rolling. But I have a mixed feeling on that. I do agree that LeBron is a fool, and I think Pat McAfee does carry some of those racist things. But let me tell you why neither one of those really bother me. Number one, in Chicago, even before I moved to Toronto, I always had a pretty diverse. Like I understand certain kind of jockey type of white guys, so they're pretty insensitive. They say racially insensitive stuff, gender insensitive stuff. We know that, right? And I used to say about Jordan all the time as a kid, and I completely took this comment for granted. But I used to say, well, of course, Mike is above the black community. You know, he's way out the chitlin circuit, as me and my brother joke all the time. And you know, over time, I sort of half with pride pulled certain other people off the chitlin circuit list. At one point, before he got arrested, Lil Durk was off the chitlin. I'm like, don't worry, him in India won't even be black next year. Same with Yo Gotti. But so the point that I'm making is that I already look at LeBron as like a super commercial entity anyway. So this is Jamal, so the Spurs and who to call his name. But I always I looked at him like he's commercial. I don't know why people are looking at it like that now. The only thing that does irritate me is because LeBron does try so hard to fit in, but I feel like he tries to fit in the other way, where he looks big and goofy, trying to hang out with the rappers and the youngsters and all of that, whatever. Kind of like Steven Jackson trying to hang out in O Block and check in. This day he didn't check in. He's trying to be a real nigga. So the point that I'm making is that I don't really know why he hasn't gone on Shannon. I do not understand that. Somebody needs to ask him, or maybe he might wait until he retires and then he's going to do that. I don't know.
I just don't think he needs to. So the whole thing with LeBron is like, why would he spend his calories why would he spend his calories on guys that are already jockstrap sniffing him? He doesn't need to. So if you're already screaming, yelling at the top of your lungs that I'm the GOAT, if you're crying every time something happens to me, why do I need to go on your show? Because you're going to do all of this anyway. Why does he need to go on whose show? Shannon Sharp. So Shannon Sharp and Nick Right, Nick Wrong, whatever we want to call him, these guys are they're jockstrap sniffing LeBron James. So they don't need, like, LeBron James doesn't actually need to go on their show. It doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't do anything for him.
Oh, no.
It does nothing for him because he's
already.
What I'm trying to say is it doesn't do anything for LeBron James. These people are already in his corner. So he doesn't have to influence them. Who he has to influence is Middle America. Middle America hates LeBron James.
That's true.
The same fan that loves the NFL, that loves Tom Brady, typically hates LeBron James. Okay? The people that watch, yes, but the people that watch Pat McAfee typically don't like LeBron James. So they're trying to change. What he's trying to do is trying to change that. And he's trying to, impact a different demographic and make his retirement tour where it needs to be. He's trying to also cement himself in media and create partnerships for post-career. So that's what I'm seeing that he's trying to do. And it's just another situation where clutch strikes again. So I just want to thank you, Jamal, for your phone call.
But what I'm saying to you is that, all I was just trying to say, to you is that, like, don't you think it's a little late for him to like think about it? Imagine if Kobe was doing this in year 15 or so, you'd be like, you don't know these guys by now? Even if that is the case, why are you trying to Like it just doesn't. Like I figured maybe I grew up in the '90s and stuff like that, so I'm used to black stars getting to that level, and even if there's some contention, whatever. But like, if for a guy who's quite close with Obama and Jay-Z, why wouldn't he have solved that issue a long time ago? And why wouldn't he go on Shay Sharp just because that's his dog? Like, you know what I mean? If you're gonna bring Goofy Steve Nash, he looks like a deer in the headlights. You're gonna put him out. Why do you? I mean, him and Shay Sharp is cool people, whatever. They'll break Shay Sharp's record.
I agree with you. I mean, I am what I'm doing right now is criticizing LeBron James for not, linking up with the quote unquote new media, the players that are in the league that are currently part of the media. I'm criticizing him for not, supporting his friends. He could have changed Draymond Green's life with that interview addressing Stephen A. Smith. But he needs to be the most exciting Black person in the room. He needs to be the only one. It's a crab in the barrel mentality. That's just what he has, and that's how he is. So, Jamal, thank you so much for your call. I'm going to take one more phone call.
My bad.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take one more phone call on this. I know Rod really wanted to call in, so I want to hear from Rod and what his thoughts are, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. So, thank you so much.
No problem now.
All righty, bye-bye. Hey, Rod. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice, buddy. What do you think about this? Why do you think that LeBron James takes a high hand with the Black media? Why do you think he even went to Pat McAfee?
I don't know if he's done that. I don't feel that.
Talk to me nice.
I don't feel that he's done something to the Black media. I can specifically say he can't go on Shannon's show to talk shit about Stephen A. Smith because, Shannon works with Stephen. He's kind of compromised.
Well, what about Draymond
why would you do that?
Okay. What about Draymond Green?
So he was specifically going on McAfee's show to talk shit about Stephen A. Smith, who he got a beef with. And the beef was kind of weird in that, he's not, Stephen A. is not a bootlicker like like Shannon, but he's giving him deference. Like he says he's a good player. He's a great player. He's just not going to give him the GOAT status. He's always going to go towards, and he has gone towards Jordan. So I don't know, this beef was something simmering on the bottom, on the surface, or whatever. And he just took this opportunity, or it was the last straw with Camp Stephen A. Smith, who he's had close ties with and done interviews with. But then this whole thing about his son, and he just kind of like channeled all the negativity about the son and his rightful criticism of manipulating using his power to get his son on the team to have that confrontation that he did on the floor. So he had to retaliate. Like I said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Stephen A. and Pat are in some kind of conflict with ESPN and the power play there. And it accumulated with Stephen A. getting his $100 million contract to equal Pat's. So why not just take a shit on him by going on Pat's show? And it's going to be on ESPN, which it wouldn't be if it was on the Shannon show, right? So it's on ESPN airwaves. It's putting a piece of shit, putting shit in a thumb of shit in Stephen A.'s eye as he gets his $100 million contract. And that's what it was. It was just a vicious, cold served revenge thing. So just because Pat said something in 2019 over LeBron making some stupid political statements about the Hong Kong protests because he was protecting his money and his convoluted kind of political stances that aren't really real. And I think they're more positioned because, he's always measuring himself against Jordan or measuring himself against Kobe, whatever it is that particular day in his mind. And they're notorious for being apolitical. They were apolitical entities, right? So if he's going to be a challenger brand, and maybe this is something him and his team Clutch has thought about, he had to come out and make these political stances where I don't think he really cares. Everything he does is transactional to get into his end goal. And I don't know. I don't see race like that. And right now, it's so great that at the end of his career, he's kind of like, oh, the NBA is done with me. I thought they'd never be done with me. And they got Luka the Lakers, who thought he had this thing, they conspired with the pretty boy GM there and to get Luka the next great guy, because something has to be done with the Lakers, something has to be done with the Knicks, something always has to be done with the Boston in this kind of WWE universe for them to be on top in this kind of scheme that they all have. And so Nico, the secret agent, he facilitated this trade. They don't want to have Cuban, he got himself in some financial trouble. I don't know. He sold his team, sold it to a Vegas casino owner. They don't want to be in Dallas. They want casinos. They got a brand new stadium in Las Vegas. Everybody knows the NBA wants to be in Vegas. They held an All-Star game there when they don't even have a team. So they poison the waters in Dallas with this trade. They get a generational player into LA. And it was all done, scuzzily, and no GM no commissioner came in to stop it, because Adam Silver is a corrupt, poor version of the commissioner that came before, who did fix games back in the early 2000s against Portland, against Sacramento. I mean, for God's sake, are we forgetting that a referee in that series got put away in jail, right? Tim Donaghy, he was the guy in that series, and he all but confessed that the NBA is fixed. And then this guy goes to jail, but what? How's he supporting himself now? He got some kind of payoff. You know what his last job was? Tim Donaghy, he was a pro wrestling referee in MLW, which is out of business. But that goes to show you, he was always a pro wrestling referee. The referees we see right now are pro wrestling referees. We just saw what happened with the Lakers and the Timberwolves. It's pro wrestling refereeing. It wasn't real refereeing. So we're watching a shitty version of WWE. That's why I don't feel bad about watching on the first night of the NBA playoffs. I watched more of the WrestleMania than I did of any of the NBA. I kind of had it on another tube, kind of paying attention. It's just BS, and this is what we're playing. We're watching sports entertainment, and Hulk Hogan is LeBron, and he's tearing off his shirt. It's an embarrassment. I don't know, man. I think it's the end of it. I mean, but everybody be careful out there. At the end of the day, he's going to be an owner of a team. And what are we going to do? What's the NBA going to be doing with this thing when he owns a team? I don't know. Anyway, that's my take. I've been holding on to this stuff for about months and months, ever since the Nico trade and all these coaches getting fired for some stupid reason. This NBA, it's a fucking joke.
I agree with you. NBA is definitely a joke. Thank you so much for your call, Rod. It's always a pleasure, and it's refreshing to hear from you. So I hope that you keep watching. And what I love about Rod is he always hangs up before I even finish saying goodbye to him. So salute to Rod. Really appreciate your colorful calls, and salute to everybody watching in the chat. Can we get the likes up? How many do we have so far? So what are we at? We're at 94 likes, and we've got 192 people watching. Can we jump up to 150, guys? I know that we can do it. So I do want to take a moment to read the super chats that came through. Oh no, I read these already, so we're all caught up there. But obviously we talked a lot about Pat McAfee, and it's so funny because Rod, he sort of made the perfect segue for our next topic. So we are going to discuss Adam Silver. He was also on the Pat McAfee show. He is a corrupt commissioner who is, just at the helm of so many horrible decisions in the NBA that's sort of tanked the league and has made the league unwatchable in many moments. And, they're trying to bring the ratings back. They're trying to make some exciting trades such as Luka Doncic to the Lakers, and they're trying to sort of revive the NBA, and they're doing everything they possibly can to show fans that this league is still a league to watch. So we'll just jump right to the next topic, and that's going to be Adam Silver. And he was on the Pat McAfee show. He had quite a bit to say. He talked about the ratings. He talked about the exciting Luka trade, and it seems as though the NBA might have fixed that trade. So, somebody said it best. I think it was Rod in the comments. the fix is in, and we are going to see these storylines play out in this postseason. We're going to be seeing right in front of our eyes, whether it's the referees basically deciding games, or if it's the NBA really, just sort of wanting to push these storylines in the media. We're going to see it all. So I'm going to play the sound for you guys of Adam Silver chatting with Pat McAfee, and then we'll react.
Comes out that the ratings were down 2% this year versus last year. I've always been a proponent of the fact that the NBA runs digital, runs social. Whenever the NBA is happening, it takes over X, it takes over everything, and that's a massive piece of your younger demographic. But to the ratings component from this season only, do you think there's been two different leagues or seasons for you guys? Pre-All-Star game, post-All-Star game. I think post-All-Star game, everything up, right? Do you agree with that sentiment? And
yeah, Pat, it's a great way to put it, because remember the narrative early in the season was that the ratings were down. In fact, they were down. There was a competitive World Series of presidential elections. There were a bunch of factors, I think, that led to our ratings being down early on. But in order to end up down 2% or relatively flat for the season, which is a victory these days, especially with declining television viewership from traditional television, that's a victory. And the reason that happened is, just as you said, essentially post All-Star, the ratings picked up a lot. In fact, to end up just down 2% for the season from where we came from, the ratings had to be up significantly. And I think you saw, tremendous competition around the league, teams playing, for playoff seedings, teams playing to get into the playoffs, healthy stars, a trade that attracted a lot of attention. A bunch of things happened in the league that generated a lot of interest. But to your point about digital media, I've said this to you before, to take a page from you, people are either watching this right now on ESPN or on YouTube. And I think you have a bigger audience on YouTube than you do on ESPN. And again, we're in those new television deals we did, not only do we have a huge digital presence in terms of social media and highlights and everything else, but every national game will be streamed in our new television deal. So as fans, particularly young fans, migrate away from traditional television or legacy television and are increasingly just watching things on their phone, on their iPads, just consuming things through streaming media, that's where we'll be next year. And so, it also, I think, in the same way that you're sort of reinventing sports television in a way, in the way you present yourself and your crew when you do games, it's going to open up all kinds of new opportunities. I mean, traditional television, it's been great for professional sports, really for all sports. But when you move to digital, it creates all kinds of new opportunities to personalize the feeds, to add merchandising and gaming and new angles, new audio feeds, sort of that Manning cast idea, but sort of on steroids, where you can have sort of unlimited ways to access games. So I think we're about, you're at the beginning of what I think we're going to see, a huge sea change in the way sports are presented through media.
I appreciate you saying that. That is very, very kind of you to kind of acknowledge. But we started digitally, then we add the linear component. So we've had to kind of watch others. There's plenty of digital companies that have created avenues for content and ways to do things. But the fact that you, Suit, literally, and guy who's been around league a long time, have the vision for what the next iteration of this whole thing is the reason why we have so much respect for you. So you need to know that that's not easy too, because I know that you're dealing with a lot of people that I don't want to say have made a lot of money doing something one particular way, but we've had to deal with that. A lot of people have done something the same way, and then we come in and say, we think if you do this, at first it's not going to be good, but in the future it'll be better. Those are hard combos, and you've had to have a lot of those, which is why I think a lot of people say the deal that you were able to get done, brilliant, brother. You need to know that. Absolutely brilliant. And we're thankful as a sports media team that covers sports that a league is doing it too. And the NFL will try to follow suit, obviously, with what you're doing. And the NFL's ratings are bananas, and they always will be. But other leagues are going to try to do what you guys are doing with this deal. And I think it'd be great for the game. And I think it'd be great for the sports going forward.
Yeah, again, thank you, Pat. But I would just say we're following our fans, and we have a particularly young fan base in the NBA, and we have to make that transition to digital, to streaming television, because that's where they are. I mean, and again, as I said, to be down 2% this year, relatively flat in the regular season, is a huge victory, because we're losing, as an industry, enormous amount of traditional television viewers, whether young people never subscribe to cable in the first place or disconnect because they can get the content they want to watch. And your show is a perfect example. And ESPN, I think, is doing a really nice job straddling both worlds. You can get your telecast, your program through traditional television on ESPN, or you can get it on YouTube. And now ESPN has already announced they're going to take their service and go direct to consumer next year. So if you're not a cable subscriber, you'll be able to get the full ESPN feed directly to your phone. And that again will be a huge turning point in traditional television, because what's holding the cable bundle together in large part is professional or sports right now, major league sports, whether it's professional, top-notch college sports. That's a key part of why people get cable right now. And again, the whole industry is really just following the consumer, following our fans. You have no choice. And it's really interesting also for sports, because in a way, I mean, I'm older than you guys, but you lived through the time where you had to get home to watch the game. And now you carry your television with you, and wherever you are, as I said, I think the way people think of it now, if you look what's happened, you have a lot of traditional telecasts have gone from, let's say ESPN to a streaming service, or from NBC to Peacock. And it's still, by and large, the same feed that you would be watching on television. What we're about to see, and I'm really excited about, is all this new optionality. So you'll be watching sports in a different way, and it'll create more engagement. Because one of the big things for us is it's not just the number of people watching your game, but it's how long they watch. And as you guys were talking earlier in the show about blowouts last night, you look for ways as a league. All right, you can't control the competition on the floor, but you can find other ways to keep people engaged. And really, just the way that you guys do. I'm a long time viewer of what you guys do, and you find ways to keep sports interesting, to have Aaron Rodgers on, to be talking about things that are happening around the game. And I think that now those things are very separate. You have sort of the traditional pregame shows, halftimes. You have, formatted shows like what you guys present. And I think what really smart people, producers, are looking to integrate those different aspects, so that when you tune into a game, if you want a traditional X's and O's presentation of the game, you can get that. If you want sort of the Manning cast type presentation where they're not just talking about the games, but they're talking about other things that are happening, you can then expand that through streaming media where you don't have any limitation. Now, like you guys were talking about, why not have all the games on last night?
Yes.
Part of it is just a limitation in terms of traditional television. Like you think of it like shelf space. We have 2 networks to work with. We're working with ESPN and TNT. So the only choice then is you got to put games in the afternoon so you can get them all on, as opposed to going 2 nights in a row. When you go to streaming media, it's unlimited. If you're on, use a platform like Netflix or whatever else, you don't think of it as in terms of what channel it's on. It's on Netflix, and you have unlimited menu of options. You can do the same thing with sports. It really opens up tremendous opportunities for us in terms of the schedule. That if ESPN, for example, has Friday night, as opposed to only choosing one game to go with, and there's an 8 o'clock game or 10:30 game, and it might turn out there's an injury or there's a blowout, whatever else. They can have the full menu of games, and you can be presenting them all at once. And from ESPN standpoint, and from the league standpoint, we just want people to watch. If they choose to watch Oklahoma City, as opposed to Memphis, we're indifferent to that. We just want people to present the best possible competition.
All righty. You guys heard it. Adam Conehead Silver. He's always doing a lot. This Adam Conehead Silver guy, he's killing me. He makes a fool of himself every time he talks, in my opinion, and he lies to us. He tries to gaslight us. He's trying to say, oh, we're only down 5% this year. Being down 5% last year is a problem because you tanked the NBA ratings last year. So only being down 5% is a complete disgrace. You had Luka Doncic traded to the Lakers. That was supposed to be the injection. We're saying the ratings went up post All-Star. Like Pat Mcafee's giving him the out, and you see him like sort of begging for Pat Mcafee's approval. The NBA, Adam Silver, Clutch Sports, LeBron James, Rich Paul, they are in collusion together. I don't see how you guys can't see this. I don't see how it's not clear to everybody. They're all going to the Pat McAfee show and they're begging for his approval, begging to be seen as this young league who's capitulating to young fans, et cetera, et cetera. And really, that's not at all what should be happening. The NBA should be steering what we want to watch and how we view the league. So the fact that they're saying they're going with the fans, and Pat McAfee, he throws a little shade saying that the NFL is going to continue to have ratings out of this world. They always will. That's what he said. Why can't the NBA be beloved just that way? Why does Michael Jordan lead the league and the NBA just goes down and down and down season over season? That's not about they're going with the fans. And it doesn't ring true because the NFL ratings are still very high. So it doesn't mean that people are watching sports a certain way. What it means is that people don't want to watch the NBA. He made a perfect point, killing his own self. He's saying that what's most important is how long people are watching for. Absolutely. We know people are not watching the whole games. They're watching highlights. They're watching the fourth quarter. And even myself, I can't watch every single game. Sometimes I'll tune into the first quarter, the fourth quarter. I like to see how teams set the pace. Sometimes I'll see how they come out of that second half. I'm looking for certain things in certain games and from certain teams. When I know that teams shit the bed in the second half, sometimes I won't even watch them the first half. I know what's going to happen, so I start watching after the second quarter. Adam Silver is full of shit. He's here to gaslight us. He's here to make us believe that the NBA is doing better when in fact it's not. There are teams playing good basketball, but the stars in the league are not. Kevin Durant's a complete disgrace. The Phoenix Suns, that franchise has turned into they look crazy as hell. Bradley Beal, the no trade clause, these are the things these are just a few of the things that are wrong with the NBA. LeBron James still being on the court at 40 with a lace front wig on and just for men beards. These are just the tip of the iceberg as to what is wrong with the NBA. And Adam Silver can lie to us all he wants. He can sit here and tell us that ratings are up when we know that they're not. He's a liar. This is a scam. Ratings are down, and them being down 5% from last year is an even bigger problem because the league was not playing as good as basketball as they're playing this season. So people don't believe Adam Silver. The players think he's a joke because they're going to continue to load manage and do whatever the hell they want. There are at least 20 stars in the league that are not eligible for awards this year. So Adam Silver is full of shit. League is not getting better as far as the ratings are concerned. People still don't want to watch Luka Doncic or the Lakers. So him saying that he's moving with the fans, no. How sales works, how product works is you're supposed to create the demand and people follow you, not the other way around. You don't follow the fans. You make the fans believe in this league and believe that they're watching the best basketball ever. You're not able to do that. So you're scrambling. You're going to Pat McAfee. You're begging for his approval. Adam Silver's a goddamn conehead. Okay? And I'm ready for him to get out of the league. He's ruining the league. He is in collusion with Clutch Sports. And Rich Paul, LeBron James, Clutch Sports, they have ruined this league. They have absolutely ruined this league. And they are a complete disgrace. And he talked about the Luka Doncic trade. It sounded like he was responsible for it. Like, hey, we just went ahead and fixed this trade. We were going to make this happen, whether the Mavericks wanted it or not. Whether Luka wanted it or not. Whether LeBron was going to be on board with it or not. We're going to make this happen. And this is going to be the seismic trade of the season. Don't you love that word seismic that they're all using all over the media? This is a seismic trade, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Adam Silver is just a disgrace to the NBA. He is insulting us NBA fans, trying to gaslight us into believing that the league is better this year, and it's not. It's in fact worse. It's in decline, and it seems to not matter what gimmick they try to get after, it's not working. And what I believe is that LeBron James is going to have to retire. Kevin Durant is going to have to also get out of the league. And these teams that have superstars on them that are not showing up to play or are too old, we need to see young, fresh talent. It's the same storylines year over year. Oh, if LeBron wins another ring, what does this do to his legacy? Oh, if Steph Curry wins another ring, then this puts him close to Michael Jordan. Like, it's the same narratives every year. So it's not as exciting anymore. And that's just the truth. The league fixed the Luka Doncic trade. That's clear. Adam Silver damn near admits it on the Pat McAfee show. That's what we just heard. He talked about this exciting trade that has shifted things in the NBA amongst fans. And Luka Doncic, you can tell that he has a lot of feelings surrounding this trade. He's still very emotional about being traded from the Dallas Mavericks. And he sits down with Malika Andrews. He sits down with her. He has quite a bit to say about that. I am going to play that sound for you guys so that, you can hear from Luka how he felt about being traded, the dramatic response that he had to it, and what his thoughts are on all of the commentary that the Dallas Mavericks ownership have had. Nico Harrison he's had interview after interview, it seems like, defending his decision to trade Luka Doncic. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks are they've been reeled by this situation. They have been wrought with guilt surrounding it. Kyrie Irving, he has not felt good since the Luka trade, supposedly. And really, the Dallas Maverick fans have criticized Nico Harrison and the organization for making this decision. And they are angry and they hate Nico, and he's showing up, standing on business at every game, ready to explain away why he made this decision. And Luka Doncic sat down with Malika Andrews to try to put this behind him and finally move on. I'm going to play the sound for you now.
Luka, what's your good side? Or both. Say both sides are my good side. I thought I would show you the souvenir from that night.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
You hang up the phone the night you're traded and you threw it.
Yes.
Do you have that phone?
Yeah.
You still use that phone?
Yeah, still works.
What a blockbuster to drop on a Saturday night.
Shell shock. The biggest shock that I've ever seen covering the NBA all of these years.
The L in the Lakers stands for lucky and for Luka.
Action.
LA Laker Luka Doncic. Does that still sound a little bit weird to you?
A little bit, not much. I'm getting used to it.
Let's go back to the night that you were traded. Can you just take me through what you did that night?
Well, I was actually in the bed. My TV wasn't working, so I was on iPad watching a movie, about to go to sleep. First thing I said, like probably 3 times, is April 1st.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Sadness, mostly. I was still in shock, like crazy shock, and I felt like my heart was broken, honestly.
At guard, in his 7th season, playing for Slovenia, number 77.
He's a man full of emotions tonight.
I've never seen a player have that type of emotion and then be able to turn around and have the game like you did.
45 for Doncic. Luka Lunacy returns here to Dallas.
Honestly, I don't know either.
Where would you rank that in terms of your all-time performances?
I would say top 1 just because it was so special, with the fans, with teammates, just being there. It was something I never seen in my life, and it was just special, the love between me and the fans.
There have been, on your way out of Dallas, some pretty pointed criticisms of you on the floor, off of the floor, even about your body.
Respectful, depends how you take it. Mostly it came from Dallas, so I just didn't want to talk back. But I don't really read that much stuff, and just trying to focus on my journey.
General Manager Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks, he had this closed door, no cameras meeting with reporters. The reporter said, you didn't believe that the team that went to the finals last year with Luka as a centerpiece could contend and continue to contend for championships. And Nico Harrison said, I'll say this again, defense wins championships. What do you say to that?
It's just sad the way he's talking right now. I never say anything bad about him, and I just want to move on. The fans, my ex-teammates, always keep it hard. It's time for me to move on from that.
Have you spoken to Nico Harrison since you left Dallas?
No.
Have you spoken to him on the night that you were traded?
No.
Was your intention to finish your career in Dallas?
Of course. It's an easy question.
Loyalty is still a key tenet of who you are. Where does that loyalty go now? Does it transfer to the Los Angeles Lakers?
Of course. Like I said, loyalty is to the basketball first.
Staying in Los Angeles is what you want to do.
Yes.
LeBron has long called you one of his favorite players in the NBA. How has he reinforced that?
It's been great since the first day. It's LeBron. It's not going to be easy. He's been letting me be me this whole time, and it's been amazing just to watch him and to play next to him.
Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Shot it. What a shot.
The gifs and memes and articles and clips on social media of you against Rudy Gobert start to be everywhere. What is it about this matchup that you love?
I think he's a great defender, no matter who it is. I just like to go against centers. When you go against the best, you got to be at the top, so that's what I'm trying to do.
The Boston Celtics are champions of the NBA as they defeat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games.
And oftentimes I talk to players who were there and they spend the entire offseason with the faces of the players that beat them. How does that loss fuel this championship pursuit?
You've been there, you could have won, but you lost. So you want to be a champion. I want to be a champion. And that's all you can think about after you lose. And it was devastating.
Luka Magic on display in the purple and gold.
Does this team have what it takes?
Yes, I think so, yes. It's going to take everything. Every little detail, every possession is going to take everything.
So, Luka, he pretty much says like, hey, everything that Nico's saying, it's just sad. I just want to move on. And he doesn't really have so much to say. I mean, he threw his phone when he found out about the trade. He was very upset. He wanted to finish his career in Dallas. He makes that very clear. He says that over and over and over again. What I don't like about Luka Doncic in this interview, what I don't like about the entire scenario about the trade is that Luka takes no responsibility for why the Dallas Mavericks might have traded him. That's the only thing that I don't like. Even when he doesn't play defense in games, post-game, he'll say, I need to defend better. I didn't play defense well enough. I missed many defensive assignments. I've heard Luka Doncic say that and admit to that. And he feels so slighted about the money. He feels so hurt about the trade. And I get that. I understand why he feels betrayed. I do. He had no inclination that he was getting traded. But where is his ownership? It always takes two people in any relationship, in any marriage. When two people get divorced, it's usually not just one person's fault. There's just two sides of the story, and it's a two-way street. Any relationship is a two-way street. So if the organization is paying you and you're showing up to camp out of shape, you need to take 20 to 30 games off in a season because you're out of shape. You need to play yourself into shape every season for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons. I mean, that's a problem. And so for him not to admit any of that, and I understand maybe he's not going to admit that impacts a future contract for him. So with players and them admitting to whatever their accountability is in a situation, there's a consequence for that sometimes. It could be losing an endorsement. It could be, not getting the contract that you think that you deserve in that next, negotiation. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to, hey, I didn't do my best or I could have done better. those things are not always easy for players to admit because of the stakes, the high stakes that are on the line for them. So I get that, but I do think that he could have given us a little bit more than I'm just so hurt. I just was blindsided. I just am so angry. I was traded. I'm so the victim here. I don't like it. So I think that I wish that we would pull some of that language out. Even the media is making him a victim. He's 25. The Dallas Mavericks regret it. Even if they lose for the next 2-3 seasons, they didn't want to deal with a superstar diva of a player that refused to come to camp in shape. And Luka Doncic might not ever win a title because he can't defend. He might not ever win a title because he's fat. When you're showing up to the NBA with a dad bod and we can call you Luka Hookah, when, Michael Finley's going up to you and taking a beer out of your hand, that's a telltale sign that you're not the kind of player that they want to invest in. So I just wish that he would take a little bit of ownership in that situation. And I like Luka's personality outside of crying crying to the refs, outside of the fact that, he can't defend as a person. He seems chill. He seems, like a nice guy. He's funny. I got to tell you, my favorite Luka moment, I got to find it for you guys. I'm sure I have it here somewhere, but he's basically taunting Devin Booker. It is just absolutely the funniest thing I've ever seen. I love it. It's my favorite Luka moment. Here we go. Devin Booker looking like he's going to cry, about to get eliminated in game 7. And Luka's just looking at him like, yeah, what do you have to say now? It's just so funny. This is just the coldest Luka moment in the world. I absolutely love this moment right here. And Devin Booker just looks like a sad dog in this picture. And I think this was the last time that we saw the Phoenix Suns this far in the playoffs. I think this was the semifinals when Luka Doncic eliminated the Suns. They were up 2-0 and they were talking big shit, and he just knocked them right off their high horse. Him and Chris Paul looked a mess in this series. Chris Paul looked like a possessed child, just right on cue, completely collapsing in the playoffs like he always does. I call him CP0. A lot of people don't like when I say that, but the fact is he is a perennial loser. He's a serial loser. And I think that after the series that he's had, like, you would think that Chris Paul would be on some kind of psychiatric watch. But hey, these guys are rich. They don't really care about winning, right? But anyway, I digress. Luka Doncic, the Malika Andrews interview, I thought that it was a really emotional interview. Obviously, he's sharing how he felt about getting traded, and he is, still feeling a lot of things about it. And I think he's tired of Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks throwing him under the bus in public. Okay, you traded me. I'm gone from the team. Why do you have to keep talking about me? That's how he feels. Like, I want you to stop talking about me finally, so that we can all just move on and stop, bringing this up. We all just need to kind of move on. We all are in a different situation and just be happy, I do want to take a moment to shout out Everlita Rowan Guerrera from the Philippines. Thank you so much for watching. I just really love when folks from other areas decide to watch the channel. It makes me really happy. It makes me feel like what I'm doing matters, and it makes me feel like I'm doing exactly what I set out to do, which was connect with people and really just bring people together to talk about basketball and to create this community that I think is just really wonderful. So welcome to the Sports Tea community, Everlita. I really appreciate you joining us tonight, and everybody who joins from the Philippines, Canada, Dubai, Qatar. We've had so many different countries in joining our live streams, and a salute to everybody. Salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Where are we at with the likes? We've got 217 people in here tonight. Do we have 200 likes? Where are we at? Let's see. So we've got about 130. I know we can get to 200, guys. So let's run up these likes. Smash the like button for me. Donate to the channel if you're feeling like you love the content. Give us shout outs on social media. Share the video. That's really important. Let's grow the Sports Tea community. But yeah, Luka Doncic, he sad about this trade, right? And I showed you guys my favorite Luka moment where he is just completely belittling Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns. And that brings me to my next topic, the Phoenix Suns. Really, Stephen A. Smith and Matt Ishbia, they are embroiled in just a war of words in the media. And obviously, Stephen A. Smith, he's, one of the biggest talking heads on ESPN. He has the #1 show on ESPN for over a decade. And he can make a lot of waves. He can and has the ability to push whatever narratives he wants to as well. And he has had a lot of criticism for Matt Ishbia of the Phoenix Suns. He is saying that he might go down as the worst NBA owner in NBA history. And I want to play for you some sound, what Stephen A. initially says, and then what Matt Ishbia's response is. And then Stephen A. just goes scorched earth, letting him know that you're not about to get out of this with me. There's nothing that you're going to be able to say. And I'm going to play this sound for you. We're going to react. And it's pretty spicy. So let's have a listen.
Matt Ishbia needs to understand that right now you are on the verge of being recognized as the worst owner in the history of basketball. That's saying a lot. Donald Sterling once owned an NBA franchise. James Dolan, until he recently hired Leon Rose, was on that trajectory. That's the trajectory, if you're Matt Ishbia, that you are on right now, being recognized as arguably the worst owner in the history of basketball.
Okay. So Suns owner Matt Ishbia heard what you had to say, Stephen A., about inching towards the worst NBA owners conversation. He responded to those comments yesterday while addressing the media. Matt.
Sure, you over the last couple of days probably saw a national reporter make some, ridiculous statements about you might be being the worst team owner or worst owner in professional sports history. Just kind of wondering what your response is if you have it.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously. I don't think many people do, to be honest with you. Things he said about Kevin Durant, just wrong and disrespectful. Things he said about LeBron James were just disrespectful and inappropriate. And so, with that being said, I don't really think Stephen A. believes what he said. I think he's doing his thing. He's on the mic and he's doing what he's. And I think he'll apologize to me because I think it's disrespectful to put my name and align with anybody that was kicked out of the league or no longer part. Yeah, if he wants to say for the first 2.5 years, Matt Ishbia bought the team, we didn't win a championship. I think he probably said about almost every owner ever. But yeah, we had high expectations and we didn't win. We spent a lot of money and we didn't win. Yep. Be critical of me on that.
Is there a question, Molly, or you just want me to take it?
Oh, no, I just wanted you to have your solo shot, and I just wanted you to respond.
I like this. I like this shot. First of all, in all seriousness, Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology because I mentioned Donald Sterling. I thought I was making it clear I was talking about basketball. I certainly did not mean to compare him to a person that was thrown out of this league and has been widely recognized as a racist. I should not have mentioned Matt Ishbia's name in the same breath as Donald Sterling in that regard. I did not mean to do that. I was not talking about that Donald Sterling. I was talking about the Donald Sterling that would be sitting courtside, heckling his own damn players and never winning anything and didn't give a damn. That's the Donald Sterling that I was talking about in terms of how ineffective he was as an owner on a basketball court. I certainly did not mean to do that. So Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. And for that, I apologize. I'm a man. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Unfortunately for you, sir, that's the only thing I'm wrong about. And that's the only apology that you're getting from me. Let's go one by one. First of all, with all due respect, you should have other problems than worrying about bringing up LeBron James and paying attention to that. I said what I said as it pertains to LeBron James. I meant every damn syllable of it. I ain't taking nothing back. And it is what it is. We are what we are with one another, and that's cool. It doesn't negate the fact that he's one of the greatest players to have ever lived, a great basketball ambassador who will be missed when he is gone. And regardless of whatever beef we have, I'm thankful for what he has meant to the game of basketball and what he has meant to all of our careers. That's what I have to say about LeBron James. When it gets to Kevin Durant, I stand by what I said about him. One of the greatest players to have ever played the game of basketball. I think from a talent perspective, Kevin Durant is top 5 all time. But the resume ain't there because you won when you went to Golden State. You lost everywhere else. And over the last 5 years, you've been bounced out of the first round a couple of times. You've been swept a couple of times. The one playoff series you did win in Phoenix was because Kawhi Leonard went down after game 2. And now you ain't even in the damn playoffs, okay? So it is what it is when I pointed to leadership, which brings me to Mr. Matt Ishbia. When Kevin Durant put out his tweet the other day, I gave him 2% of the responsibility. I don't know if you know that's a crime. It's a crime in today's NBA. You understand? One of these days, very, very shortly, I'm going to dedicate a full episode of First Take to covering the NBA the way the players would want me to, the way the coaches would want me to, the way evidently Matt Ishbia would want me to, because everything is rosy. Nothing's wrong. I mean, 2% of the blame. My God, you get $50 million a year. You can't get to the playoffs, and I hold 2% of the responsibility to you, and that is a crime. But that's what it is with Kevin Durant. It is what it is. So be it. I'm not backtracking from that either. I question the leadership. Where is it? And Matt Ishbia would argue with me about this. As the owner of the Phoenix Suns, sir, respectfully, I know the future could hold an inordinate amount of possibilities. But in your first 2 years, there is a legitimate argument that you are an atrocity. And your background makes it worse because there's no excuse for it to happen. Were you not a walk-on at Michigan State? Did you not play for Tom Izzo, the phenomenal Tom Izzo? Okay, one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball. Did you not talk about the kind of influence he had on your life and what he has done for you in terms of your basketball acumen or whatever? My God, you're staining his name. That's how bad you've been. Where would I get that from? Allow me to count the ways. Molly, this man arrived in February of 2023. NBA's Board of Governors approved a $4 billion deal for him to purchase the Phoenix Suns from Robert Sarver and that group. In the immediate aftermath of that, he trades for Kevin Durant. What does he give away? He gives away Mikal Bridges. He gives away Cam Johnson. He gives away Jay Crowder. No problem there. 4 unprotected first-round picks. 4. 23, 2025, 2027, 2029, and a swap for 2028, a pick swap. He pushes to acquire Bradley Beal. We all know Bradley Beal can ball. We also know he had a no trade clause. Why do I bring that up? Because now that you contemplated trading him in January, what's the problem? His agent is the father of the CEO of the franchise. That's who you got. I'm not finished. You did trade Chris Paul and others. You did trade DeAndre Ayton. Why do I bring up those names? Because weren't they in the finals in 2021? Weren't they up 2-0 on Milwaukee before Giannis went berserk? That's the closest they came to winning the championship. Then the next year, even though they lost in the semifinals, it was a game 7 of an NBA semifinals in the Western Conference against Luka Doncic. That's what Matt Ishbia inherited. You didn't inherit a moribund franchise. You didn't inherit a franchise devoid of leadership. Put that camera right here. I don't want the lights. I'm right here. You didn't inherit a moribund franchise. You had a franchise that was in the Final Four, the Final Two, the championship series, less than 2 years earlier. And the year before you arrived, months before you arrived, was in game 7 of the conference semifinals. 1 game away from the conference finals. Why do I bring that up? Hold on. Monty Williams is your coach. Damn good coach. Not only did you fire him, you had to give him about $20 million. Oh, Frank Vogel, you signed him. He won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble. Oh, you fired him after 1 season. Oh, Budenholzer is a champion. You fired him. So you paid $20 million to Monty Williams, at least according to the reports. You owe Frank Vogel at least $20 million, and you owe Mike Budenholzer $40 million because you signed him to 5 years, $50 million. That's $80 million. And you had a large payroll of $214 million. You had a luxury tax of $152 million. You already touched the second apron. You don't have any picks that belong to you for another 6 years. My God, what am I missing? Respectfully, sir, I understand. My last point, Molly. Yeah. I understand. I truly do that the future could potentially be bright. Maybe you'll keep Kevin Durant. Maybe you'll get Houston to take him some picks. I don't know. You're going to keep Booker. Yeah. Okay. Bradley Beal's not going to waive his trade, no trade clause. All right. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. But in 2 years, I would challenge anybody to tell me who's been worse.
One thing.
Stephen S. Smith. When he's right, he's right. He walked us. He completely walked Matt Ishbia down. He completely walked him down. You bought this team for $4 billion. You're hemorrhaging yourself. You're saying money's not an option. The luxury tax, no problem. You want to give all these picks away. You want to get Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, create this big 3, right? You want to do that. Totally fine. The Phoenix Suns have completely shit the bed this season. Completely shit the bed. Kevin Durant has 0 leadership on this team. They traded away their only leader in Chris Paul. Chris Paul was their only leader. That's a guy you keep. And I get there's money there, but that's just a guy that you keep that got you to the playoffs, that got you that finals run. You get Kevin Durant, you get Bradley Beal, everything goes to complete dog shit. You fire Monty Williams, you're firing Frank Vogel. All of these guys have won a title. You're firing Mike Budenholzer, another championship winning coach. Is it the coach's fault? Or is there just no leader on this team? Do the guys just have 0 desire and will to compete? Devin Booker, he's a competitor. I don't think that he's the problem, but I don't think that this team is playing well together. I think that they are a disgrace to the NBA. I have to say that. It's just god-awful. Stephen A. Smith is right. Stephen S. Smith is making sense here. No. Matt Ishbia is not Donald Sterling, okay? But he is making decisions that are bad. What I will say and where I disagree with Stephen A. Smith is that he's the worst owner in NBA history. I think that his tenure has started off bad, but what I like about Matt Ishbia is that he made decisions very quickly. So he felt like something wasn't working and anybody can get fired or traded. Bradley Beal was acting out. He was looking to move off of him. Period. It wasn't working. Let's get rid of it. So I like that he doesn't want to sit on a contract for 4 years. It's not working, whether it's with a coach or a player. Forget it. I'll just pay the money. Goodbye. So I have no issue with him firing coaches that don't fit and trying to trade players that are not a fit either. He doesn't want an unhealthy organization. He doesn't want a bad culture. I can tell that. When I look at Matt Ishbia, I see a guy that wants to win now. I see a guy that wants a franchise, and I see a guy that wants to drive a culture on his team, and it hasn't been working. So he's trying to move the pieces. Kevin Durant is no longer a fit. Let's trade him. That's what they're in talks to do. So what I see is somebody that is taking action and has a sense of urgency, unlike a lot of other ownerships. These moves are just not working. So to his own point, to Matt Ishbia's point, they've had failures. These decisions didn't work out, but you've got to be willing to take a risk. Now, he gambled on their future, which was a bad decision. So if he just wanted to trade away everybody to get Kevin Durant, that's one thing. You traded away everybody for KD and Beal, fine. But the firing of the coaches, I just don't really have much of an issue with. They are title-winning coaches, though. I don't think it's the coach's fault. I just think that Matt Ishbia is somebody that wants to take action, and he's just ready to fire any and every one if that means that it's going to make his franchise better. But he's in a bad spot because there's just not a whole lot of talent that's available. So if he moves off of Kevin Durant, gets some young talent back, that could be helpful, especially if he can get Jalen Green included in that trade. But again, they're looking at a rebuild. So the Suns are essentially, and Lone Soldier said it best, the Suns are a dumpster fire. They are an absolute dumpster fire. So salute to you, Lone Soldier. Comment of the night. They are an absolute dumpster fire. And with Kevin Durant and his non-leadership, Bradley Beal and his no trade clause that he wants to sit there and steal money, I mean, it's really a disaster. So the Suns are going nowhere fast. I'm curious to see what they're going to do in the postseason. But I want to know what you guys think. So drop me a line in the comments if you were a little too shy to write in the comment section here while we're live. I'm going to read some comments off. Let's see, did we get any super chats? No, we're all caught up there. But yeah. LaFraud, please, I'm begging you to stop this. It's time to go. Please retire. Just get out. Import. Zay is hilarious. Fanboys. Absolutely. It's looking bad for KD the longer he plays and not makes the playoffs or get bounced in the first round again. I mean, it's the sweeps for me. It's him getting swept by Anthony Edwards, him getting swept by Jason Tatum. It just doesn't look good for Kevin Durant. And I understand the refs allow for teams to do to really play physical with Kevin Durant, but that just lets me know that like these players today, Kevin Durant's, they wouldn't last in a physical league. They're not built for it. They need a very low contact game of basketball. And Kevin Durant, he's lost several steps since I've watched him, play at the Rucker. He's not that KD, and that's understandable. He's in his late 30s now. So I just think it's time for us as an NBA and a league to move away from these old head players. I think the league instantly gets better when we start focusing on the Trae Youngs and the younger talent. When we start focusing on Steph Curry's, retirement tour. When we start focusing on, him saying farewell to the league and everything that he's done. That's what I'm looking forward to. I need us to sunset these players because they're what's wrong with the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, they're playing great team basketball. The Boston Celtics, they should be, furiously looking to repeat. And these are the stories that we really need to be talking about. But instead, we're coming in here talking about the disgraces of the league, like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, it's just not really good. It isn't positive. It isn't something that moves the league forward. And we need to really get away from these negative stories we do. So, I want to come in here tomorrow or the next day. I want to talk about the playoffs. I want to talk about the teams that are balling out. I can't wait to, go over the Orlando game, talk about the Cavs, talk about Boston and what they're doing. We need to talk about the teams that are playing really great basketball. We need to shine a light on OKC, SGA, these players. We need to get in here and talk about Nikola Jokic. Is he the best center that we've ever seen? These are the things that we really need to be talking about. And unfortunately, I do have another show where I'm going to be exposing LeBron James for more lies and how he's really lowered the standard in the NBA. So that's going to be like my next show. I'll probably do that in the morning, maybe tomorrow night. I'm not really sure, but we'll get some more content. And then we're going to go full steam ahead with the NBA playoffs. That's what I really want to talk about every day, night in and night out, what game we saw, what we thought about it, how did a particular team lose, what do we predict for the next game. That's the kind of, content that we should be looking forward to in this postseason. So salute to Man Down Sports. Hey, Mel, KD would be fine in the 90s. The 90s wasn't all about the spread offense and dribble drive. I don't know that KD would really be fine in the 90s. I want to believe that, but when I see teams get physical with him, I see him crumble and collapse, and that doesn't feel good to me to see a player of his caliber completely just shrink that way. I struggle with thinking that he would be fine in the 90s, and perhaps he would, because I think he's a hard worker. I think if he morphs back then, he's going to be playing like those guys back then. So I can get it. He's a baller. He can play the game. Those body types were not, I don't know that he would be Kevin Durant in the 90s. He would have had to play the game closer to the way that Kevin Garnett plays in order, I think, for him to make it in the 90s. Could he have been a Kevin Garnett type? I don't know. Kevin Garnett came out right out of high school balling. We don't see guys do what Kevin Garnett was doing anymore. We don't see it anymore. And I do really like that guy, Evan Mobley. I like Jarrett Allen. Those guys can really play. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Cavaliers can do. So I do want to thank you guys for watching. I do want to know from you, who do you think was right? Who was right in this situation? Was it Stephen A. Smith? Was it Matt Ishbia? I think it's a combination of both. I think that Matt Ishbia, he knows that he has failures, and he wanted to make sure that he wasn't being put in the same sentence as Donald Sterling, which I think is, the right commentary. I think where he deflected to LeBron James and Kevin Durant, he was trying to deflect away from the criticism that he rightfully deserves, and that's for his bad decision making. So you made decisions, you took action, but you have been a bad owner, and you've just got to take ownership of that and admit it. Just say, hey, these decisions didn't work out. I gambled on this. It didn't work. I failed. And I got to try to turn this around now. He's the owner of the team, so I guess he doesn't have to admit a goddamn thing, but Stephen A. Smith is right as well. And so is Matt Ishbia. Hey, don't compare me to Donald Sterling. That's a little too much. So, until next time, guys, let's see where we're at with likes before we head out. I hope you guys decide to talk to me nice in the comments and, leave me some really cogent thoughts. So what do you think? Who was right, Stephen A. Smith or Matt Ishbia? Oh, Mellow S says Stephen A. Snitch was right on this one. I agree. I think that he was right on this. So thank you all for watching. Like the video, share the video. That's really important that you guys share the video out there on Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever we want to call it, Instagram, all the social media networks, so that we can grow the Sports Tea community. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the little notification bell so that you'll know when I'm going live, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, we just got a super chat that came through right at the last second. Thank you, Sports Facts, for the $4.99 super chat. Shout out to Sports Tea. Thanks forever for your convo. You are just wonderful, Sports Facts. I really appreciate you. I love to connect with you guys. And yeah, I look forward to hearing more of your thoughts. So certainly write me in the comments and let me know what you think. Have a good night. Get some rest, everybody. And I will see you in a few hours, I'm sure. Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye.